Well, here it is, folks. 2019. A new year. A new beginning. For me, for you, for Whiskey Business. Hi, I'm Dino and welcome to Whiskey Business, the 2019 edition, a podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. And yeah, I have a cold. Is that a good way to start a year? I mean, seriously. I got through Thanksgiving and the family. I got through Christmas and the holidays. I got through New Year's, even though I really don't do much on New Year's. But I got through it, and I put my best foot forward, and then I get a cold. And I don't want to hear everybody say, did you get your flu shot? I don't have the flu. I have a cold. Just a freaking cold. And I have tea, and I have whiskey. And I know that eventually whiskey and is supposed to go into the tea, but I don't have lemon to make the proper hot toddy, so I'm drinking them separately. And despite the fact that I have a cold, I really feel that 2019 is going to be an exceptional year, just in life in general, and for this podcast, because we're kicking it off with a very special guest who we'll introduce here in just a moment. I have a couple of little things to do before that. The two gentlemen who helped put this podcast together so magnificently, my audio producer, Greg Hansberry, right there.
What's up,
and the video producer over there, Mr. John Whitney, for our YouTube channel, are exceptional talents in their own rights. And I did not get to see them over the Christmas holidays. So, fellas, yes,
look at this.
A new year, a bottle of New Riff
Nice.
for you, and
New
a bottle
Riff.
of New Riff for you. New year, New Riff, great bourbon, new to the market. I think you guys will
I've never
find
seen
it.
it.
Oh, you'll find it. I think you'll find it lovely. I got you both the same, so you wouldn't fight.
Thank you.
Yeah, I didn't want you guys to fight over anything.
Matching PJs again.
Yeah. That way, this is better than mine. No, they're the same. I have the better bottle. I have the single barrel. I have the better bottle.
Okay.
So,
The fall
anyway,
2014. Nice. Thanks, Dino.
So, my most deep felt appreciation to
Thanks,
both
buddy.
of you
Cheers.
for everything we've done so far, and as we move on. Our guest bottle tonight, looks like it's almost empty, is Scotch whiskey, Monkey Shoulder, from the good folks at William Grant. This is a blend of their single malts. It's lovely. It's, I believe, under $30 a bottle. And it's a lovely blended malt Scotch whiskey with some wonderful notes. And even though my nose is not exceptional right now, normally I would be able to smell some of the cinnamon in there, but no, I'm not doing such a good job of it tonight. And why Scotch? Because normally we have bourbons and ryes and whatnot. We don't have a lot of Scotches because we don't have a lot of Scotch drinkers. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, so thrilled to have on the podcast to kick off 2019 from WTVN 610 AM, doing afternoons at WTVN. It's Mr. Mark Blazor, everybody. Scotch drinker, radio afternoon host. And yeah, and you're a Johnny Walker Black guy.
Yes.
I know this because I guested on your show a while back and found out you were a Scotch drinker, and you told me you liked a Johnny Walker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And since my nose isn't stopped up, I think I do smell the cinnamon.
Do
that
you?
I think I smell the
Somebody
notes
does.
of cinnamon.
Notes, a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit of cinnamon.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a
Ooh.
nice finish.
Ooh, that's nice. That's really nice. Mm.
It's got a nice, even with a cold, I can taste it. It's got a nice, almost pepperminty finish at the end, and it's nice to switch off, go back to Scotch. I mean, when you and I drank it on the air,
Right.
because you gave me a bottle of Glenlivet.
Yeah.
We drank that on the air, and it's like a ooh, when you go from bourbon to Scotch, quickly for the first time.
Right.
It's like it's a little shock to the system.
Shock in a good way.
In a good way.
In a good way.
But then it actually I started to remember all the silky goodness that comes from a good Scotch whiskey. And this one, have you ever had Monkey Shoulder?
I have not.
This like I said, man, this is right in your wheelhouse of price. It might even be less than your Johnny Walker Black. And it's really, really good, really quite smooth, to be honest with you. And it's a blend, so it's not like for those who are the the single malt guys who like it peaty and smoky, and you're not going to get that in the Monkey Shoulder. You're just going to get a good glass of Scotch.
Well, Johnny Walker's obviously a blend too. So,
Yes.
And then the single malt, there are like Dalwhinnie is a single malt that I actually like. My father-in-law is a big fan of that. That's good. But I'm not a peaty guy. I don't like the.
You know, peaty.
No, I
So
don't.
your father-in-law likes Scotch.
Yeah,
Is
absolutely.
that one of the things that you have in common with
Yes.
with him?
Yes, and short stories. We get into a couple cigars here and there too.
Yeah.
Like the Queen Bee, the Arturo Fuente.
Nice.
Yeah,
So you're a
absolutely.
cigar smoker too.
Yeah, here and there, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
See, I never got into cigars that much.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is into cigars real big, and whenever I go down to visit them, we go to a cigar shop, and there's a guy named Ulysses he's from Cuba. He's quite the character, but that's when I embraced the cigars. Excuse me. But I think I'd like to do that more. Actually, I thought in 2019 I'd bring back the pipe.
Oh no. Yes, do it.
Bring back the pipe.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe they have a vape pipe.
Not a vape pipe. No vape. No, just a pipe. Just a regular pipe.
Yeah, do that.
You know? Load it up with some nice cherry, I don't know, some sort of nice blend tobacco. I like the whole process of the pipe and lighting it, and the contemplative thought process while you're sitting there thinking about what to do or maybe what to write, and when you're holding the pipe,
It's
somebody
documented.
Somebody makes a point, you take the pipe out of your mouth. Yes, yes. As a matter of fact, Mark, I recall a time in the Congo.
Right.
Puffing out the pipe.
I've never smoked a pipe like that with the cherry tobacco.
Really?
Yeah. So that might be interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Let's smoke pipes together.
All right, I'm in.
Let's get by a fire, some scotches. We'll bring your father-in-law over.
The red satin
Yeah,
jacket.
yes, ascots.
Smoking
Yes, no,
jacket.
absolutely. Smoking jackets and ascots.
I'll be Holmes, you be Watson.
You're gonna solve crimes too.
Right. Scotland Yard's calling. Yes.
Oh man. So let me ask a little bit about you, because I know some things about you, but I really don't know anything about you. In respects to radio, when did you start? When did you get into this business?
93, early 93 was
excuse me.
the first.
A year before I did.
Yeah. So it would have been, that was oldies, an oldies station.
Oh.
Oldies 103, the radio station. The building's on Morse Road.
So here in
And-
Columbus.
Yeah,
You-
1150 Morse Road.
So
yeah.
you've been in, as long as you've been in radio, it's been in Columbus.
Yeah, well, yeah,
most
except
part.
for the Cincinnati stuff that I did most recently and still am doing part-time. So yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you started out in oldies, and then
And then that they changed to, I was the youngest guy in the building doing oldies. And the guy I had literally started growing my hair out then and had long hair.
you had long hair.
Yeah, really long hair. And
Can you still grow long hair?
no,
So take the hat off for a second.
no, I'm follically challenged.
When did that happen?
Probably about, what would that be? Maybe 20 years ago. So, right around that. 20, 15 years ago, it started falling out. So I just
It just started falling out.
played the hand God dealt me.
I mean, I always wonder about that, because I know a lot of guys who, like you said, had beautiful mounts. I mean, I recede on the sides here. It's just the same pattern as my father, but for the most part, I have a thick head of hair for the most part.
Right.
But so guys like you, how long? When you say you had long, was it like luxurious?
Yeah, I
Like-
actually
like a metal rocker type hair.
yes. To
Did
to
that
my
bum the
waist.
fuck out of you when you started losing it?
Yeah, it was a little bit hard to deal with at first.
Was it like Was it like like Samson losing his power? Did you? Was
mean,
there power in the hair?
I struggled at first, and luckily it was slow enough to where, and I transitioned like the different lengths, and then it was all one length, and it was kind of the Gavin Rossdale from Bush, kind of all behind the
Yeah.
ear. I did that for a little while, and then it kept going, and then it began up here. I was like, and people are like, and I'm like, I'm just getting taller. I'm growing up through my hair. So
growing up
that's-
through my hair.
Right.
Did you when you did you meet your wife when you had the hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait, not all, more hair. Let's
More
put
hair.
it that way. Yeah. Not the really long hair.
Right.
Yeah.
And has she adjusted to you?
Yeah, oh,
being
yeah,
follically challenged through
Yeah,
the years.
she's completely cool with it. Yeah. Luckily, that doesn't affect the way the bedroom goes.
Oh, that's
There
good.
you
That's
go.
good to know.
And that's really all that matters. Let's be
In
honest.
the big picture, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
When the lights are off.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, that's so funny. So you go from oldies to
Yeah. So anyway, so I was like the guy with the longest hair and the youngest guy in the building. And I said that to say they changed to Z-Rock, and which was an affiliate for Z-Rock, which at the time was based out of Dallas, Texas. So that was a national radio station, but we were a local affiliate doing local weekend stuff. And when they changed, they blew everybody out pretty much for the oldies. And then they started using, they said, hey, would you be interested in doing this with regard to, you kind of got the long hair already, and it just kind of happened that way. So then Z-Rock happened, and I stayed there, and then from there the rest of the rock radio continued.
right. Well, was radio kind of the dream? Is that what you wanted to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
You wanted
Yeah.
to get into radio broadcasting.
Yeah, because I did mobile DJ work at first, and that was something where I go, man, I'd love to start doing radio at some point, and that's kind of how it happened.
What kind of parties did you mobile DJ?
Like school dances, believe it or not.
Oh, no,
Stuff
I
after
don't,
football.
I don't believe it. I don't believe. I
Slow
don't believe
dance.
seeing you at DJ and school dances. I mean, did you?
Yeah.
Did you do that because you liked it, or because it was just a good paying gig?
Both. I mean, I do like the live, and I still do the mobile DJ thing.
Do you really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I still do weddings and birthday parties. And I just did a Christmas party at Crown Plaza downtown here on December 8th, actually. So it's fun. It's still fun. I like that, the interaction with people.
Is it because you get to pick the music you want to play?
It's really, they pick what they want to play.
Do they really?
Yeah, for the most part. And, the technology now, Dino, is so awesome.
It's going to be lost on me.
Well-
Trust me. If you're going to talk to me about technology, go ahead. Give
It's
it your
called
best
an
shot.
MP3.
It's like-
I use it's called Serato DJ is the program. I have my
Nah.
MacBook. I flip it open. I've got 12,000 songs in there.
No, you don't.
I've got a
No,
DDJ
it's-
SX2.
No, you don't. It's science fiction.
They work just like turntables.
No, they don't.
Except
No,
it's digital.
no,
It's
no.
you do
No,
the scratching and
You're speaking of something in the far, far distant future, my friend. This doesn't exist as we speak today.
Dino's got the crates of records, the vinyl he's going to bring.
and that's what I used to do.
Yeah, yeah.
And I said, "Oh my God, this is killing me. It's breaking my back. I got to." And then technology comes along, and I go, "You know what?
Technology.
I should start doing that again." And a couple of years ago is when I actually started doing it again. And I love it. I love the live performance. It's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. It's instant reaction because you're doing a wedding and people are like, and you're getting them to chant, and you're like,
I will give you that. I will give you the. I was just writing about this yesterday, as a matter of fact, about the immediacy of performing live. I love doing stand-up because of the immediacy of stand-up. Whether it's the instant approval or even the instant disapproval. I mean, literally where you're standing as you're standing when you're doing stand-up. And I love the reaction from a live audience. So I imagine it's the same way when you're doing that. If people are digging what you're playing,
they're dancing.
and they're dancing, right? Yeah,
That's the challenge because you go, I got to get people on the dance floor,
Right.
and that's the feather in your cap. You're going, I'm winning.
And do you feel like, for lack of a better word, you feel like you're in control?
Yes.
You're kind of in control of the night?
Kind of, yes. Yes, for the most part. I mean, the control is, it's kind of a facade. You think you're in control, and you go, I got this. And you put a song on that you think's going to kill, and it's just like a joke. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And you're going, I can't wait to launch this one on them. And then, it's like,
Yeah.
you go, my God, where's everybody going? I thought for sure they were going to dance to September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. Where are you going?
In my mind, this was like, this is.
Do you remember?
Come
I'm like,
on.
come on.
Where are you going?
Yeah, so. And then
Love it.
and you
Which
go,
I love that song, by the way.
absolutely.
EWF, yeah.
Oh, it's one of my favorites,
Earth,
man.
Wind, and Fire.
Absolutely.
I got the greatest hits on vinyl
Sure.
downstairs.
You do.
Yeah.
Are you a rock guy? Like, are you a rock fan first and foremost?
Not first and foremost. I mean, like I told you way back, I did clubs for the longest time. I don't know if you remember Sharky's. I used to actually.
yeah.
I was a house DJ there, and There was a teen nightclub a long time ago called Flamingo Isle that I was a DJ
I
for.
don't remember Flamingo Isle.
I hope not.
Or nor should I. Right?
Right,
Yeah,
no,
right.
yeah,
It's a
you
teenage
shouldn't-
club.
Right.
Yeah,
If you weren't working there,
Yeah.
you shouldn't have. Like, I love going there.
Flamingo Isle. Oh, yeah.
that place is
40-year-old
good.
Dino checking it out.
No, God, that sounds. Oh, God, this sounds disgusting.
And it was fun.
The reason I ask is because that's a challenge that I come across, like trying to keep up with the music that you don't really listen to, but people want to hear on the dance floor. That's always been a challenge.
Yeah, I have a 13-year-old daughter and a
You're
5-year-old son.
clued in,
And
man,
that
yeah.
helps too.
That
but,
helps. They keep you fresh.
Right, but I legitimately like a lot of the music too.
And
I
oldies
really do.
are awesome. On the dance floor, you play, I don't know, I'm trying to think of an oldie off the top of my head, but you play something like We Are Family or something. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean? Like,
Yep.
those are oldies and goodies. They're always going to be hits.
Yep, absolutely. That's the like the 80s. Yeah, that's all. That's easy. Now you do some of the millennials, like if you start to do their weddings, sometimes I'll get no 80s. Like they'll tell me, because on my website, I give them login credentials. They can go on. They build their own playlist, their own timeline.
Why no 80s?
Some of it's like usually millennials that are like the 28, 29-year-old, 30-year-old.
They consider it to be a vacant
I don't
decade
know.
of music.
I guess they're like, oh, that's stupid. Don't play.
No.
And they'll say, and I have the do not playlist and the must play if possible, and inevitably somebody will put something on the do not play that I'm like, why wouldn't you want me to play that? Like no Lady Gaga or no. I'm like, what did they do to you? Like, what is? It's just bizarre. But yeah, you'll get some of that. But for the most part, they go, you're in control. I go, let me do what I do. I read the crowd.
Right.
I watch people dancing.
Right.
I can see how old they are.
Right.
And let me do. That's why you're paying me. Let me do it.
Let me do my thing.
Yeah,
No
it's
chicken
fun.
dance. No chicken dance.
Yeah.
It's like that that commercial that's on right now. The just okay's not good enough with the tattoo artist. Stay in your lane, bro. Did you see that commercial?
Right.
With
I think you're talking about the
lane?
no regrets.
Yeah. No, the other one. No, stay in your lane,
regrets.
bro.
All right.
Yeah.
And the doctor, he's like, yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, he's okay.
Oh, yeah.
That one. Everything we're just
Right.
okay.
And that's the one where we
I'm
believe.
one of the tattoo artists in the city. You mean one of the best, right? Aren't you supposed to draw it first? Stay
It's
in
funny
your
because I
lane,
couldn't
bro.
even tell you what product that's for.
That's the same. They have like a series of commercials, right?
Yeah,
that you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
The guy says like he's the
I think it's
mechanic.
For AT. I think it's for AT&T.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know.
I don't know either.
It's
That's
like
the
if,
thing.
if your
funny.
brakes don't stop you, something will.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole series of them. I think
gotcha.
it's for AT. They should cut through a little harder, maybe, because I don't know what the product is.
No.
But I like the
It's too
commercials.
funny, yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right, so when did you start the Blitz?
So that would have been shortly after that. I didn't do very long in oldies and then Z-Rock, and then ended up there. So that would have been 94.
Okay.
I believe would have been. I knew you were going to ask me these dates in my mind.
No,
I'm
it's
thinking,
all right. You don't
I'm
have to be
thinking I got to
exact
try
on
to
them.
remember, but it's somewhere around there.
See, that's the beauty of only having been at one station. I know exactly when I started and exactly when I left. So one station. So you got to the Blitz when I got to Sunny.
Right. It's
Yeah.
probably about right. Yeah.
About right. Same
Yeah,
time.
and then I did nights there for 13 years, and yeah, it was 12 years, something like that, right around there. And then from there, ended up doing. Did I go to middays after that for a minute? I think I went to middays for a minute, and then mornings with Mo.
Yeah. So mornings. Did you always aspire to do?
No,
the
as a matter
morning
of
show?
fact,
Really?
No,
You
I
didn't
said
know?
no. I have no interest in getting up at 3 a.m. I want none of that. And then I filled in for a guy that they had hired at the time, who what happened was they were bringing him in. They had hired him, but they didn't have him in the building yet. And then at the time, Ronnie Hunter, who works there, she was. She took like a little bit of time off at the time, but was supposed to end up on the morning show. And I ended up going on there, and they ended up going, where's this been this whole time? And
Right
for whatever
here.
reason, Mo and I hit it off, man. And
Yeah,
it was
well-
like we were off and running.
Yeah, you
know?
guys had a lot of fun together.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
So-
He's a talented cat, man. I love him.
Yeah, he's
I
down in
love him.
Florida, right?
Yep.
Down in Florida.
He's on the Bone down there, 102.5 The Bone.
Good for Mo. Good for Mo and good for Blazor. So yeah, you were on for mornings for how long at the Blitz?
I think almost 6 years.
Yeah,
was
it's a nice run.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Then we left there and went to Cincinnati, on EBN down there, 102.7 EBN, which is kind of like they're like the QFM of Cincinnati, maybe a little newer, but their heritage. They had a long time. They had their morning show was on like 25, 30 years. It was like a 25, 30-year run. And then they left, and once that morning show was kind of let go, they were called the Dawn Patrol, and they left for a while, and then we didn't want to be the guys after the guys.
Hey, it's so hard to be the guys after the guys. So I've heard.
Right.
I don't know for certain, but you weren't that guy, were you?
We weren't the guys after the guys. We were the guys after the guys after
guys
the guys.
after the guys after the guys.
Perfect.
Everybody follow that? We're the guys after the guys after the guys.
Which is okay.
Yeah, that worked out fine.
That's okay.
Except for it only lasted 8 months, and then they went, "You guys aren't the guys
You
anymore."
guys aren't the guys. We need the guys after the guys after the guys after the guys.
Yeah.
I think those are the guys.
Turns out we missed one guy. We should have been one more guys. And so, yeah, Kid Chris is the guy and he's still on now. So that was at late 12 and he took over. But yeah, that was just one of those things, man. It didn't end up working. Are the guy who hired us?
Yeah.
He ended up getting blown out, and he's now in Detroit. And so when he got blown out, they blew us out because they brought a new PD in who wanted to bring in his quarterback, if you will. You know how that goes.
Yes, I do.
Yes. So.
Yes, I do.
And that was pretty much it.
All right. So now we flash forward to you go from
EBN.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a couple of years later, you want what's in between before I get back into radio?
Okay. Well, maybe.
We can wait. Okay.
Go ahead. No,
All right, so
we're going to talk about some of the in-between stuff.
Right. All right. So I'm sitting in traffic, and I hear that a guy left, Mark Amazon, who was on WLW in Cincinnati, 700, who's the big one down there. So they're kind of like the Cincinnati version of 610 here,
right?
News Talk. And home of the Reds, home of the not Indians, home of the Reds, home of the Bengals. And so their night guy left, and
home
I called.
Of the losers.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Exactly.
Johnny, I'm sorry.
Right.
Bengals fan.
Right.
Yeah.
Says the Steelers fan, by the way.
Shut up.
Right now,
Shut up.
you have no room to talk about
It was a fluke.
Well, I'm a Steeler fan. So.
Yeah.
Well, either of
right.
you. I'm sorry.
All right.
All right.
Well, we
Moving
digress.
on.
Go
Moving
on.
on.
Right. And so I called the OM and I said, "Hey, I want back in." And he's like, "Well, talk radio is a little different than doing rock radio." I said, "I understand." He goes, "When you want to stop talking, you can't because you can't start a Nirvana record. You have to keep talking."
Right.
And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "So come down. I'll work on you." So a couple of years later, I'm doing the Bengals post-game show. This is coming up on the third year. I'll be doing that and then filling in and all of that on there. So started kind of honing that talk radio craft, if you will. So, and that's where I'm at now.
And you like it.
I love it.
Yeah. So going from morning rock to afternoon talk, and going back to having to not wanting to be the guy that follows the guy. You kind of, fortunately, once again, didn't have to do that because your spot on WTVN AM was housed and lorded over by a radio legend in this town for a lot of years, John Corby.
Right.
And that was a spot people loved Corby. So, but you didn't have to go in right after Corby. You were kind of once again just asked to fill in, right?
Correct. And that's good that you actually even have, because it is a little bit, it was like there was a guy who came on and who used to fill in for Corbs all the time. And when Corbs passed, he came in and began doing that gig. And it didn't work out for him. And then they brought Woody in.
Right.
And Woody is the morning guy on COL.
And Woody's awesome.
He is.
Woody's a talent beyond talent, without a doubt.
So Woody is the guy now. He's doing mornings on COL. They gave him the afternoon gig after Corbs, and he's now the afternoon guy. He's Tom Joyner. I don't know if you know Tom.
I know who Tom Joyner
Tom
is.
Joyner used to do mornings in like Philly and fly to Dallas.
Fly to Dallas, yeah.
Do like afternoons.
Yeah, it was
radio
crazy.
legend, yeah. So it's like he's that guy. Only Tom Joyner's black. So Woody's white. So he's the white.
Thanks for clearing it up for me.
He's the white Tom Joyner.
He's the white Tom Joyner.
And so he's also in the same building, as opposed to getting in a plane and flying to another market.
He's going down to the hallway.
Right.
Yeah.
Going through a different door, putting on a different hat. So that was going great. And then Woody had a situation where his doctor told him, you got to stop doing this. You're working too much.
Right.
If you don't stop working too much, this is going to end badly. So he was like, so it was kind of like his doctor told him, hey, you gotta step back from this. And so Woody had went on vacation, and I was doing his show while he was on vacation. He never came back because the doctor during that time said, hey, there was a scare, and they told him, you gotta stop doing this.
Yeah.
Dino, I never have come off the air. I ended up staying on the air.
And the gig is yours now.
And I got offered a deal in October. I'm incredibly fortunate, man.
Hey,
right place at the right time.
That's, you know what? That is sometimes a very huge part of it. And you do a great job. I've had the pleasure and the fun of joining you on a couple of shows. And the last time I was with you, we did the whole show. And yeah, man, you're thumbs up.
Thanks, man.
You're doing a great. You're doing a great.
It's a
job.
Learning process,
Well, but it's
fun.
It's always a learning process. 24 years on the morning show. Can I tell you that I stopped learning? No. You're constantly learning how to do things differently or better or to improve. The minute you stop wanting to do that, I think is when you're done. Is when it's when there's nothing left to do, or there's nothing they'll let you do, or nothing you think you can do, then you got to split. So
can we flip this for a second? Can
absolutely.
I ask you?
You can ask me anything
a
you
question
want,
about 24 years of doing what is the how hard was the transition of not having to get up and do, or was that the easy part? Or because I can't imagine, like, sometimes during the day you have to be like, like it has to be a very odd feeling doing the same thing mornings,
right?
And having a #1 rated show, obviously.
Do you go to bed early to do your? Well, when you did mornings, did you go to bed early?
Yes.
Okay. Afternoons, you have a little bit more flexibility, a little more luxury. You know, I don't know what time you get in to prep for your show, but
like 10:30, 11 o'clock, I'll get there.
You'll get there. You'll get there that early for the
Absolutely.
3 o'clock show.
I got to talk for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And we got to figure out what we're talking about for 3 hours, man.
There's no Nirvana records to play.
No, there's no records, and you don't get to just kind of just wing it. There is no winging it. I can't wing it. I don't have the talent to wing it, as of not yet anyway. I don't know that. Even Bob Connors didn't wing it, you know, and you obviously know Bob very well. You guys were
the Monarch.
You guys were competitors for years and years. So even he didn't wing it, and there's a guy who, if anybody could have winged it, it would have been him.
But to your credit, it doesn't sound like you're winging it, but it also doesn't sound structured and planned out. It has a much smoother flow to it. So that's to your credit.
Thank you.
Even though you plan, it doesn't sound. I mean this in a complimentary way. It doesn't sound planned. It sounds very natural. This is what we're going to talk about, and that's good. I think that cuts through. It doesn't sound like, okay, here is the next thing. There's not that period at the end of the sentence and next. So good for you.
Thanks.
Yeah. But to answer your question, which I wasn't trying to evade, when you did mornings, did you go to bed at a decent hour?
I did.
I did not.
Oh.
I did not.
So you'd go to bed at?
I'd go to bed. The only time I'd go to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night is if I was ill. Then
Legend goes there are times he didn't even go to bed.
And and legend would be true.
Yeah.
There are times where I didn't go to bed at all.
He would just show up from playing cards or
from playing
doing
cards on
whatever.
a Monday. We had a Monday night poker game that was legendary here for 15 years, and all of those 15 years when I was on the air, and those games would wrap up at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. One of our fellow radio friends, Andy Man from CD 101 at the time, would play, and those games they'd wrap up. I'd say it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. you guys can keep on playing, but I got to go to work.
Lock up when you're done.
Yeah, and times I'd be at the Funny Bone. I was hosting the Funny Bone a lot more back then, and Thursday nights at the Bone. Go out with the comics afterwards, and we tear it up. I get home 2:00 in the morning, and up I go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was that a lot?
What? Often?
That, yeah.
Did I do that often?
Often?
Yeah, I did.
This was 20 years ago, though, right? Or I mean,
I did often.
Well, all right,
yeah, I mean,
okay,
yeah.
fair enough.
I mean,
you know.
yeah. To say it slowed down, sure, it slowed
Yeah.
down. But even if it slowed down, I was still here up till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. I come into the stage. Anybody watch Colbert last night? Like, no, we were sleeping.
in bed.
Yeah, we were in bed.
So what would you? So in those when do you sleep then? When you would get home at 11 or 12?
During commercial breaks.
That's when you're looking over
Yeah.
going.
All right, 90
You're like,
seconds.
you're like, Dino, you're back on.
I got.
man.
How long's the stop set? 6 minutes. Wake me in 5.
You'd pop up.
And I could. I could.
Today
pop
is Sunny
right up.
95.
Wow.
And he would just say Maroon 5, and most likely he was right.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, most of the time. There's a.
So 3 out of 5 times you're right. Then.
Yeah, 3 out of 5
Okay.
times I got
Fair
it.
enough.
I nailed it.
Right.
One of my friend's favorite stories, Jamie Sanfilippo, friend of mine. We were out in Vegas, and it was right around Oscar time, and I was doing a phone in to see. I was supposed to tell him what the odds were for the favorites at for Oscar night. It was on a Friday phone in.
Right.
And we're at the tables and drinking and just
Doing what you do in Vegas.
doing what we do in Vegas. Gambling heavy, drinking heavy. And it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. And they're like, oh, man, I got to call in, I'm hammered. And Jamie's like, you can't call in. You're drunk. I go, no, I can call. So I go over, leave the table. And he says, to this day, it's the most amazing thing he ever saw in his life. He goes, I dial in, I get a hold, and he's watching me. And all of a sudden I go from, I got to call a radio station to, hi, this is Dino Tripodis live in Las Vegas. And here's the audio. And I just like completely straighten up and boom, do it. Just like snap right out of it. I do the spiel. I give the odds, the Oscar odds, the favorites, who I think. I without missing a beat, I click off the phone. And then Jamie said the next day, I do.
Oh my gosh. You know what though?
He laughed his ass off.
For whatever reason, I'm not really that shocked to hear that. Like for what I don't know. Like you come across as I don't know. To hear that story, it's so
Doesn't
believable.
surprise you?
No, like that. You do it long enough, you can muster up. The way you're supposed to sound,
Yeah.
and you can kind of go into that
Right.
almost in any state. And like for instance, when at the Blitz when we did mornings, we would have porn stars in the studio. Free beer Friday was a thing that. People would be, and it was nuts in there. People naked,
Yeah.
I mean, it was debauchery.
Yeah, we
And
never
then-
had porn stars on Sunday
No,
95. No.
but my point is,
No, never did.
My point is, going around is chaos, and then like you cue the mic, and it's like, and you just go. And it's like anything can be. A boob can hit you in the side of the head.
That's not going to distract you.
No,
It's not taking you off your mission.
It's bizarre, man. But I understand.
You know what that is, right?
No, what?
That's the sign of a true professional, my friend. That's what that is right
Yes!
there. That is
Amen.
the sign of a true professional right there.
It's
When
focus.
You cannot be diverted from your mission and plan as far as broadcasting goes. You will not lead me astray with your boob to the side of the face.
Oh man,
Push away, breast. You no longer amuse me.
I've got a job to do.
That's right.
Get away from me, memory. Memory. Right.
You cannot distract me.
Evil breast.
Evil breast. I have a 6-minute stop set. I'll deal with you then. Coming up. So I want to talk about some of the in-between gigs, in between radio, because you've painted this lovely picture of a very fluid, seemingly dive from one job into the other, and it makes this lovely tapestry of nothing but radio. But that's not necessarily true.
No.
There have been some side gigs. Well, you mentioned the mobile DJing, but that's still kind of radio-ish and entertainment-ish. But there were some other gigs that you had that I found very interesting that you did, and I didn't know about this until we actually chatted one day after the show.
So if I could, the mobile thing came from, I was at Hollywood Casino in Lawrenceburg, which is down by Cincinnati. I had at the time was working at 700 doing it's called Extra Innings for the Reds. It's the Reds post-game show. And I went down early to watch the Reds at the casino because it's convenient. I can because I have to talk about it.
Right.
So I'm there watching the Reds playing blackjack. I'd lost like $300 playing blackjack. I go over to a slot machine. I put $100 in it. It's $5 a pull. And on the sixth pull, $30 in, it hits for $20,000.
Holy moly!
So the guy sitting next to me is flipping out, and he's like, "You just won $20,000." I'm like, "No, I think I won $2,000." He's like, "Dude, you won 20 grand." He's freaking out, and then I'm staring at it, and I realize I won $20,004, and I have a picture. So I used that money, and I bought the DJ equipment and started DJing again. So I go, why don't I parlay this into more money? That was my investment, part of it from that. And $6,000 into DJ equipment, boom. And that's kind of how that happened. I just thought I would throw that in there because I was like, I can't believe I won 20 grand. I lost I was like, I lost my mind.
See, that's the difference between you and I, right there and there. That story right there. You win $20,000 on a slot machine, you're immediately thinking, I'm going to buy and invest in equipment and go back into mobile DJ. I win $20,000 and go, I'm going up to the next table and turn it into 40,000.
Where's the high rollers?
I'm going to double it.
I'm going to double it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that was that basically was from then I began doing the more with 700 WLW, kept working there. But before I actually ended up there, I actually was a table games dealer.
Right, which I find fascinating.
At Hollywood here in town on the west side.
Yeah.
So I always said to myself, I've sat on the side staring at the dealer, and I always thought it's kind of sexy maybe to be a dealer and I thought it was this really cool world that I wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
And it's really dark, man. It's a really dark world to be a dealer because you have a front row seat for people who are they're gonna turn their mortgage into 2 payments or 3 payments.
Right.
Or a car payment into 2 or 3 or 5 car payments. And you and I both know that place is not standing because everybody comes in and they triple their car payment.
No, dude. The casinos are not built on winners.
No. And that place is beautiful. And I had a front row seat, and it was pretty dark, actually.
You had a front row seat to the depravity of it all?
Yeah. And I always thought I liked working on the weekends there because a lot of people would come in, and they were having fun on the weekends. You don't get the professional gamblers that come in on the weekends.
Well, on the table games, is it
correct?
On the table games, the odds are in the favor of the casino. I think on the table games, your best odds are in craps and blackjack.
Correct. It goes exactly. It goes dice then blackjack.
But the other games, the 3-card poker, the Let It Ride,
horrible odds,
and I love them.
Total luck.
It's
but guess what? If you're lucky, try
lucky.
telling that to a guy who just won a 10 grand jackpot.
Right.
That you have terrible odds at this table, and he goes, yeah, whatever. I got $10,000 that says you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
No. It's absolutely. It's either it's your night or it's not.
Right.
And I'm aware of that.
3-card poker is really bad odds.
I know, horrible.
And I don't know what else.
I love it.
What like
Let It Ride? They don't have Let It Ride anymore in Hollywood Casino. They got rid
terrible.
of it.
Probably the worst of the carny games.
Yeah.
The worst.
They're carny.
games.
They're
called carnival games.
They're
That's the
carnival
nickname.
games. They basically are.
When you go there, you learn blackjack. You have to know, and the carnival games you have to know. But to pick up any other games, back like mini Bach or Pai Gow or dice or roulette, you have to become full-time, you have to pick up one of those games. And I wanted to be full-time, so I picked up roulette. Now, I played roulette my whole life, so I learned it. I'm decent at math, so it was one of those things where, okay, I'm going to do that. I never learned dice because it's incredibly complicated.
Oh, yeah.
It's an 8-week process going through the schooling. It's 5 days a week. So, and they don't pay you for that. You don't get paid to learn that. So you're benefiting the casino, but you're not being paid for that, yet you're becoming more available to the casino.
More valuable to
More
the casino.
valuable, but yet they're not compensating you. You don't even get more of an hourly wage for it.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
It's
because,
silly. It's silly.
A good croupier, am I saying that correctly?
Sure.
Croupier.
Don't look at me.
Is I've been at crap tables where it's been bad ones, and I've been at crap tables when there's been good ones.
You're teaching them how to play.
No, but there was one time.
right.
No, but I remember one time when, as far as the Carney games go, we were in Vegas. They had just come out with a game called Flush, where you got 7 cards. You just tried to make as good of a flush as you could make.
Like high card flush, yeah.
Yeah, high card flush.
Yep.
And the dealer didn't know the game. I mean, I was actually telling the dealer, no, that's a winner, and no, that's not a winner. No. You're don't pay them out.
Right. You're paying them out, and guess what? You're
Yeah.
going to have to take it back in a couple of minutes because they're going to call down.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, isn't it all like monitored and videoed and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
now? So,
Oh, yeah. Everybody upstairs
How
knows
long did
exactly
you work?
what
How long
you're
did you
doing.
work at the casino?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fantastic, man.
But you probably saw all walks of life. You saw the high rollers.
Yep. I dealt in high limit.
Yeah.
You guys would sit there and, playing stacks of orange, which are $1,000 each. A couple of gray chips would be involved there. Those are $5,000 chips, and it's staggering when I'm sitting there dealing to people who they win $70,000 in 15 minutes, and I'm thinking to myself, that would change my life. Man.
Right.
$70,000 would change my life.
That would
like I could wipe out some of my
all
debt.
my debt.
Yeah. I could wipe out some of my debt, man. I could pay off, whatever. So
then you see this. Then
it was weird.
Was it always the high limit tables that you worked? Or
No. Just
so
a
you would
few
work the
times.
regular tables.
Yeah.
So you would see the other side of it too. As you were speaking of, the people who were trying to, that were risking their mortgage to.
Yeah, and it was always my fault when the cards
Of course
were wrong.
it is. It's always your.
And I'm like, I'm just the mailman.
Yeah.
I'm delivering the mail.
Yeah.
And some days I have good mail, and some
You
days
suck, man.
Right. And we had long sleeves, and they used to. I'll never forget this. They would be like, "You guys have long sleeves." One guy goes, "You have long sleeves. You guys have cards up there. You're probably cheating with those cards." I'm like, "Cause yeah, my sleight of hand is perfected."
Yeah. Because after my shift is done here, I'm doing a magic act over here at the OH.
And I used to say to them, they're like, "You can control the cards." I'm like, "If I can control the cards, everyone at this table has my last name. You don't even get to sit down, I promise, if
Yeah.
I'm able to control these cards. Because I'm giving all the money to
Did you
all
ever
my
get pissed?
friends."
Did you ever get mad?
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever get really mad?
I told some people exactly what I'm thinking. Like, they're like, you're not even rooting for me. Why wouldn't you be rooting for me? And I'm like, you're not tipping me. Why would I root for you?
How big of a deal? Because I always tip when I'm at the tables.
Yeah.
I always tip, and I feel like, well, one, it's the right thing to do, and
If
two,
you're winning, you need to be tipping.
even when I don't win sometimes.
And that's good too. But I understood. As long as you're not a jerk to me, like, don't be a jerk. If you're going to sit there and lose and you're not tipping, I get it. You don't want to give me any money as a dealer. Because I'm probably like a guy you don't like. You're thinking, I can't win with this guy. Because that's what a lot of gamblers think.
Oh, no.
If they're sitting at
Trust
a
me.
table.
I know the gambler mentality very well.
And you have
They're a
have dealers,
superstitious lot, yeah.
You have dealers where you go in and you go, I love that dealer. I win with them.
Right.
And they have nothing to do with it other
No.
than there's some sort of an energy there. But I can tell you, people who complain the whole time, they don't lose. They don't win. They don't win. So you got to be positive in all of those things. But yeah, I would get it when people didn't, and I understood that actually. I understood.
Did
that
you
when
ever
they
get to a
didn't.
point where somebody would say you saw somebody like, dude, you just need to stop?
I never told anybody that.
I don't think that would be a thing the casino would want you to do.
They wouldn't, but I didn't do it because of that. I didn't do it because I don't felt like it was my place.
Right.
I felt like you're a grown man. You can figure out if you should be here or not. I don't. If you want to sit here and give me all your money, you took my money. I didn't take your money. You gave it to me. You gave it to me.
to me.
You're not stapled to that seat. The doors are never locked. you can walk out at any time. So I was always, you're a grown man, you can figure it out. I'm not going to tell you, why are you here? Now, I used to tell people, I've been doing this all night. Don't stay at this table. Because some tables you can't, you know how it goes. If you go bouncing around, don't sit at a table where a dealer's smoking everybody. It's just not smart. There are too many tables, and another table may have your run. They may have your shoe that you need.
Yeah.
So that's what I used to tell people. I would say that. I'd say, this ain't working out.
No.
I'm like, you need to go to a different table.
I'm kicking ass
I'm gonna
over
get.
here.
Yeah, I'm like,
No, I can beat you, dude. I can beat you.
and it's like, you're not beating me. You can have all this. You can have all these chips. I don't want them. You can have them.
Yeah.
The more of these you get, the more I get. Actually, I used to tell people, but yeah. So it was incredibly fascinating world. Actually, it's fascinating to watch people win a lot, lose a lot.
Yeah, I don't think I would want to be on the other end of it. I mean, I'm sure you found it a fascinating experiment in sociology and psychology, but
It was cool.
as much as I enjoy gambling, I don't think I'd want to be on the other end of it. I don't.
It was a bit of a curtain pulled down. Hey, there's
Yeah.
no Santa.
Right.
It was kind of, there was a little bit of that at first, and I kind of knew maybe a little bit, but didn't know. But once you're there and you realize it's pretty cool, but at the same time it can be. Some days it was a downer too. Some days I left there and was like, why are these people doing this? You know, like, it was exhausting.
Yeah.
Some days it was always my fault. It's always my fault.
I think it's like that in any job, though. You know,
Could be.
especially in radio.
Right.
You know, when things are great,
You're the guy.
you're the guy. And when things are bad, what are you doing wrong?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Did the same thing last week. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Or last month or whatever it is.
What's going on?
Yeah.
What did? You're missing. What are you doing different?
Here's my favorite. When the PD goes, do this, and you do that, and then it fails, and they go, what are you? And you go, I was doing what you told me to do. This is your game plan. And then they go, I don't know.
No, it's not my game plan. You obviously
you're executing it incorrectly.
Yeah. There's
like,
something.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you've heard that line.
Yeah, I've never really paid much attention to it, but I've heard it through the years.
Isn't it funny how that's the common denominator? No matter which station you're at, it seems to be the same thing with regard to that. But
Yeah. Well, man, you're kicking ass right now. That's the important thing.
thanks.
And
It's a ton of fun.
it is. You look like you're having fun, and that's the important thing. I mean, you're lucky that you're in a job where you can say that. You know, a lot of people go into a job from morning till evening and hate the grind. I mean, I've been fortunate, and you currently are fortunate that you're in a job that you get to talk and let people talk to you and have a great time, and you're very good at it. So
Thanks, man.
yeah, you're right. You are blessed.
I'm over the moon.
Over the moon.
It's great.
Yeah, and you like the shift, 3 to 6.
I love it. And the best part is, having a 5-year-old son, he doesn't leave until, to go to school and it affords me that ability to be with him in the morning so I don't have to
Nice.
rush out, and have a great support system, and my folks are in town and they help, and it's great. I mean, that's a great shift right now.
You could do a podcast at 8 o'clock at
I could
night,
do a
drink a little scotch, and not have to worry about getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to
Amen.
work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not that
You
you
do.
worried about it
Not that
either.
I'm not worried about it. You have to worry about it.
Well.
You have to worry about it. But you and I don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Right. So,
And then one of the other things, if you were going to ask, I didn't know, like,
Go.
did you know that I think I told you that I worked 911, right, for a while?
I was going to get to that.
Oh, sorry. I'm pulling down the curtain myself.
No. Go. Because as interesting as it is to sit across from a table and watch successful gamblers, degenerate gamblers, and depraved gamblers, and people who are just there first time ever gamblers, and see that variety of people, I can't imagine the psychological strain of 911 calls.
So, yeah, when I worked 911, police and EMS fire dispatch, that was prior to the casino, working for the casino. But that was the time that I flunked out of both of those. So I worked for Delaware County, and then I worked for Franklin County. and both had
When
a
you
bunch of
When you
fantastic.
say you flunked out, what do you mean?
Well, I didn't quite. I went through the process, began working there, training, and then within 6 months of not one but both of those gigs, 6 months was kind of like you're either going to sink or swim within 6 months. I ended up sinking on both of them, and it's a multitasking thing that I never really mastered. And it's you'll have on a headset, and literally 911 can ring while you're dispatching police or fire or EMS, and somebody's on the other end, and sometimes you are supposed to pick that up while you're listening for someone going, hey, I've got a whatever, and I can't remember the codes, where they're pulling somebody over, and you gotta stay with them now radio wise while that's going on, and you're answering 911. It was unbelievably stressful, man. It was crazy. And if those things, you're on the phone with somebody who's, oh my God, he's not breathing, his lips are blue, blah, blah. They're going, and then you got somebody going, I got one running, and somebody they pulled over takes off. Now you're in a pursuit, so you got to you're going back and forth with them. You're trying to talk to somebody on 911. It was incredibly stressful. And those type situations didn't happen constantly, but they were very possibly a part of a bi-weekly situation that you could be in the middle of. And so after a while, when they would put me out on the floor after going through training, and then I just never got it. I wasn't able to grasp and be good at the multitasking aspect of that. It does a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it bothers me because why does it bother me? Maybe because I'm a guy. Is that a good answer? Because I hate to lose. I don't know if those are good answers. I try to. I'm going. What do I attribute it to? But it does bother me some because I want to win at everything I do.
And so so it bothered you that you couldn't do that job.
Yeah.
To the level and standard that they wanted you to do.
Right. Because I wanted to be one of those people where they go, that guy's. He has ice in his veins.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, during that, sometimes something would pop off, and then somebody would have to step in and, save me, if you will. And that happened enough where they went, look, you're not getting this. We got to cut you loose, And I'm like, oh. It was hard to accept.
Is that one of the few failures in your life?
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard because I test through the roof for that. You take initial tests.
Yeah.
And it says this guy's a good candidate, this guy's not a good candidate. And it says I'm a great candidate. And so that's what was really hard about it. I'm like, I'm a great candidate. Why isn't this translated?
How many times though has something looked good literally on paper? And not
trouble with the curve,
and
exactly.
Not come to fruition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't beat yourself up over it. I think it's maybe a blessing in disguise.
Oh, it was.
To kind of realize, that we all have limitations. We all have things that, as much as we want to think we can do anything we put our minds to, that we do. We have limitations. There are certain skill sets, my friend, that we don't possess.
Right.
I'm never going to be a great athlete. I never was a great athlete. And no matter what I think, if I would have done this differently or that, I wouldn't have been a great athlete. I was good in radio. I'm a good writer. A couple other things that I'm pretty good at, but I know what I suck at, and I don't obsess over trying to worry and fix that. I'd rather focus on the things that I'm good at and be great at them.
Do you ever go to like high school reunions? Do you ever go to those?
Went to my 10 and my 20. I went to 10, 20. I went to 10, 20, and 30. I did not go. I'm old than you. I did not go to 40.
But when you went to those,
yeah.
Did you have people? Was it from here? Was it this?
Steubenville, Ohio.
Okay. Was it people who knew what you do or what you did for a living?
At the time.
And they would say, what are you doing now?
In the first 10 years, let's see, 77, 87. Yeah, I wasn't in radio in the first 10 years. So what was I doing then? Oh, God, I was in the investigative work then. So I couldn't even really talk about what I was doing without getting into very long, tedious conversations. Then 77, 87, 97, I was in radio. Yeah, 20th. And then the 30th, I was still in radio.
Did you get people going, because you were going, I was good at radio. I knew what I was good at and what I sucked at. And then you get people going, man, what's that like? How are you, like, how do you do? Because I'll get people that say that, and they go, man, what's that like being on the air? Like,
Yeah.
that's got to be so fun. And how elite of a group is it that we are in?
Yeah, very much.
You know what I mean? It's this minuscule amount of people who ever get to experience that.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool about
I
it.
always kind of smile. Hansberry, you can appreciate this. And people are like, so, you know, over the years, so what, you like talk for 2.5 minutes and then like, you know, a bunch of commercials? How hard is that?
You can play whatever songs you want.
Yeah,
You pick
play
out the
whatever song
music.
you want. Yeah, play. And you talk for 2.5, 3 minutes, and then you're done. And you know. So how long are you actually working, dude? I'm like, yeah, I talk for 2.5, 3 minutes.
You're like, you got it. Sure, that's what I do.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, for 4 hours every morning for the last 24 years. You come on and try it. And then when you get tongue-tied and don't know what to say or what to do, then tell me how easy it is. Yeah, when I would go back to the reunions, I was voted most humorous in my class. You know, I was the funny guy. So they knew I did stand-up comedy at the 20-year reunion, so I had to go up and do shtick at my 20-year reunion, which was fine, but like, oh God,
Right.
you know, I just want to blend into the bad paneling that's at the hall that we're at, you know, and eat the bad food that's on the buffet and see some old friends and be done with it. I didn't make it to my 40th because there was a conflict. I actually had a gig. I couldn't go. So, yeah. So I did my 10, 20, and 30. You?
I haven't been to any.
Why?
Haven't been to any. It's convenient to not go for me because I'm like, I felt like all it was this contest where people would just be like, yeah, I'm doing really well. I own this or I own that. And I was always like, I don't have any interest in that. And a lot of those people, anybody that I wanted to keep in contact with, I always did.
Right.
So I don't have an interest in going and seeing. And some of them popped up on Facebook just when I started at TVN. A lot of high school people actually have popped up on there.
Cool.
For whatever reason. Not really on the Blitz, but at TVN for whatever reason over the last 5 months. A lot of them have surfaced friend requests, and I'll go, oh, God, what? I used to wrestle with that. I was on that guy's wrestling team. Like, that's cool to see. And some of them, it's genuinely good to see them or whatever on there. But, yeah, it was never my thing because I always felt like it was a pissing contest.
Yeah, I never felt like it was a pissing contest. I was, you know, excited to see some old friends, and that was about it for me.
Right.
Yeah, I never got into the pissing contest. I guess maybe because I knew going in there's going to be somebody way more successful than me there, so I already accepted that as being the case. So-and-so is supposed to be a doctor, he's a doctor. So-and-so is supposed to be a lawyer, he's a lawyer. You know,
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I am what I am, and good for you, and good for me. You know,
Right.
There's no need to whip out your dick and see whose is bigger as far as because I'm not doing it. So
Right.
and I feel the same way about radio. You know, some shows are more successful than others, and big deal. You're in that rare air that we talked about. They're doing whatever you're doing, and you're doing it to the best of your abilities. Done. Right?
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mark Blazor has been our guest. For those of you listening outside of the Columbus, Ohio area, he is on 610 AM WTVN, and you can stream that if you want to hear him from 3 to 6, right?
Absolutely.
Anywhere in the country.
iHeartRadio app.
iHeartRadio app. You can stream that if you are here in Columbus. You can listen to him daily from 3 to 6, Monday through Thursday, and 3 to 7 on Fridays.
Actually, 3 to 6, Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday?
So
what happened to the 7 o'clock guy? What happened to the final hour?
I don't actually. I do 3 to 6. The one Friday that I did till 7 was just a one-time thing. Because Dave Mann, who's normally on, then he was off.
Oh,
So they my
right, 3 to
program
6.
director asked me to fill in. So
Let's just get a clean edit for the podcast.
to do what?
Just say 3 to 6, Monday through Friday.
Okay. And for those of you listening in Columbus, Ohio, Mark Blazor on WTVN AM from 3 to 6. Those of you listening outside of this Columbus, Ohio area on Whiskey Business, you can go to the iHeart app and stream him from 3 to 6 and hear some delightful talk and discussions about a variety of things. And even though this will drop, after I do it, but I'm joining you tomorrow on your show.
I'm excited.
I'm excited about that as well, man. Looking forward to it.
Me too.
I've had a blast with you every time I've gone on there. I think it'll be more of this. More of what we just did tonight.
I think so.
Except with a lot more commercials.
And traffic and weather every 10 minutes on the 10th.
All right, man. Did you enjoy the Scotch?
I loved it.
All right, let me wrap up the things.
Hold on,
like I
let me
always
take
do.
care of some business real quick.
Sure, do the business thing, Hansberry.
Rate and review us on iTunes. Subscribe, please. Check us out on Instagram, Whiskey Business Podcast. You've been posting a lot more, Dino.
I've been
Nice
trying
job.
to. I've been trying to. I'm trying to get out of the dinosaur age and actually post more things on Instagram. I do it because it's easy.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Now we also have a Whiskey Business YouTube channel, which is relatively new. So follow us at Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis. And Johnny, our YouTube producer here, just gave us a review.
Oh, cool.
We ended 2018 with a running commentary on It's a Wonderful Life. It was a lot of fun. So this is from that. Excellent commentary by a couple of my favorite Columbus media personalities, you and Johnny DiLoretto.
Oh, cool.
Let's see here. Along with you two favorites, you guys could do this all the time and I'd watch.
All right.
I see a lot of myself in Johnny and Dino. Thanks for taking time to review my favorite movie.
I see a lot of myself in Johnny and
Merry
Dino.
Christmas.
Oh, you need help, my friend.
And that's from Dave Farley. Is that what it is? Yeah, Dave Farley. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, rate and review. The more you do, the more exposure we get and the more we expand our audience. Whiskey Business is a Never the Luck production, produced on the audio side by Mr. Greg Hansberry and on the video side by Mr. John Whitney. There it is. Yeah. And all the opinions and comments are those of me, your host, and my reluctant and sometimes not so reluctant. Did you have a good time?
I loved it.
Yeah?
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I had
man.
a great time.
Thanks for kicking off 2019 in a big way, man.
It's an honor, man.
And
it is an honor.
Continued success in all you do and whatever you do. God bless your family and your wife and your kids and the whole and let's hope the Steelers do better.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yeah.
In 2019.
Bye-bye, AB.
Yeah.
He's leaving.
Yeah.
There he goes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You know what? A distraction.
Right.
Yeah. There's
Right.
other people that can do what you do.
Juju's the new AB.
There you go. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Steeler fans know exactly what we're talking about. Until the next bottle, see ya.